Welcome back to another edition of the Witsup Weekly Grind. I'm glad to say, I'm actually super stoked to say that today we are catching up with an athlete who actually took part in a race. On this crazy, crazy planet, there have been some races going on, Jordan's just said, whoa, intro. Did it work? Did the little video work? I hope it worked. It's my favorite little cartoon thing that I got someone else to build and make. And I love it. So anyway, super stoked to say that in just a few moments, we are going to be chatting with Renee Kiley, who took part in the Rainbow Beach Tri on the weekend. Professional triathlete who I'm pretty sure never thought that we would be sitting here discussing a sprint distance grassroots triathlon event, but here we are. So let's get her for the first time on the Witsup Weekly Grind. I've got her on mute at the moment, so I'm going to unmute her and welcome her to the Witsup Weekly Grind. Renee Kiley, thanks for joining me.
The crowd goes wild.
Oh wait, I keep forgetting. I actually do have sound effects and I always forget to add them because I think it's funny, right? Let's practice it again. Yeah. Hang on, I am going to do it. Okay, please welcome to the Witsup Weekly Grind, Renee Kiley.
Hi, everyone.
Mate, how are you doing? Like we just said, you took part in, I think, well, there's been maybe one race up in Darwin, I think, here in Australia, a club event. But this is kind of the first one I believe that pros have had a crack at the Rainbow Beach Tri.
Like I just said to you a couple of minutes ago, I just can't stop smiling. It was just the best feeling. Yeah, the best feeling. I honestly didn't think I missed racing as much as I do.
Yeah, I bet. So what was why Rainbow Beach Tri? Talk me through I guess what's happening in Queensland at the moment is, and we keep sort of harping on about this, is that Queensland's probably our best opportunity for races currently, just with the different COVID rules up there. But so what was your process in terms of choosing that race?
I didn't choose that race. That race chose me.
Well played. Well played.
Look, to be honest, it's all, as everyone knows, it's all over the place at the moment with races. And to be honest, I'm part of the Hills District squad here with Cam Watt, and we haven't even talked about races. Like, Cam's actually been great in that way. He hasn't even, like, as races have got cancelled and stuff like that, he hasn't even mentioned them I haven't even discussed racing with him at all through all of this, which I think has been awesome, actually, because when he's calm about it and not talking about it, keeps everyone else calm about it and not thinking about it.
Sure.
So we've been, as everyone knows, really lucky up here in Queensland. We've been out of lockdown for a while. We've had pools open again for a couple of months now, I think. So we can pretty much train as normal up here. And races, some grassroots races are seeming like they might start to happen over the coming months. I think obviously the big question mark is over Sunny Coast 70.3, which is now 4 or 5 weeks away, and Cairns Ironman, which I think is 6 or 7 weeks away now. It's really weird feeling because we're assuming, well, I think we're assuming they're going to be cancelled, but there's no announcement being made yet. So each day that goes by, it's a really difficult situation to be in, which everyone's in the same boat. And then, this Rainbow Beach Tri, I don't even know how I found out about it. It just popped up on my Facebook feed.
Oh, really?
And then I think as the weeks went on, it wasn't being cancelled. They were still posting updates about it. And I was like, oh, this looks like it's actually going to go ahead.
Yeah.
And then I walked into Cam, into training, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, and I said, I just signed up for the Rainbow Beach Triathlon. And he just turned at me and looked at me and goes, you signed up for a sprint triathlon? And I said, yes. And he goes, I've been trying to get you to race more for 2 years, and now I'm signing up for a grassroots sprint race. So yeah, I just signed up for it. And there was word that it was still going to go ahead with a very small field. And yeah, it was super exciting when I saw a few other pros that actually signed up. Yeah, I just was so excited about it. I couldn't sleep for a few nights before it. I was so excited. A race that, like in any other circumstances, any other year, I would not even consider this race. But yeah, it was like we were prepping for the world champ.
Oh gosh, just quickly, Romy says, "I love you, Renee," and Peter Cook says, "Well done" as well.
Awesome.
So, and we were joking about this before we even hit record. That who knew that we'd be sitting here discussing the Rainbow Beach try, and I love that it's kind of forced us as well to look outside the typical box of, say, Ironman, ITU challenge kind of racing, and it's so important. So my actual first triathlon was a grassroots event here in Victoria, and it's so important to sort of give them a bit of kudos still as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess my other question is, did you ever think you'd be entering a sprint distance triathlon as a professional and win it?
No way. It's actually hilarious. I haven't done a sprint since 2017. I
Yeah.
think I did my last sprint distance. And I don't know, can I claim this? I can't even claim this as my first pro win because it was no pro category.
Doesn't matter.
No, but who would have thought, seriously, with any other pros in the field, I would never have expected to, do okay in a local sprint distance.
I love it. And so, no pro field. Was it just an open category?
No, it was actually just age groups. And when I contacted, I think it's Phil Hungerford that runs that event, and he's well known around Queensland. He runs quite a few local events. When I heard about it, I emailed him and said, "Oh, hi, Phil. I really like to race this triathlon, but I know it's just an age group race." And I said, "I just want to race. So I'm happy for you to not even include me in the results. I don't want to interrupt the age group race. Like, I'm happy even to go off in the first wave with the guys, whatever. Like, I don't even care about the results. I just want the opportunity to race." And he wrote back and said, "No, it's an age group race, but they actually take the top three out of the results at the end, and they win like an open category." So
Ah.
we actually paid a little tiny bit of prize money, like for a second, third male and females. Yeah, so it covered accommodation and stuff. And I think at that stage maybe I was the only pro that had inquired. But in the end, I think there was, in the females, there was 6 or 7 pro girls that like lined up at different stages over the weekend.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's awesome. And I
Yeah, it was
think
really
I'm really fascinated to know from a pro's point of view, obviously, because, and not so much about, making a living, because right now it's tough in terms of making a living through racing. But even at the best of times, it is tough to earn a living as a professional triathlete, as you know.
yeah.
So then when opportunities like this come up, I assume that it's really just down to, I'm gagging to get on a start line. I just want to race. And it's just that, adrenaline overwhelms you, that you just want it. It's that white line fever. I just like, give me a start line.
Yeah, it's 100% just wanting to race, but also it's a great training stimulus. Like, you don't, no matter how hard you push in training, you're never going to push as hard as you will in a race when you're chasing someone or pretending that you're chasing someone. So the weekend, which was a sprint distance at 3:30 in the afternoon on Saturday, and then another sprint at 7:30 a.m. on Sunday morning, it's just such a great training weekend. And for me, I'm not, nowhere near one of the best in the world. That's what I'm aiming towards. So I've got to do everything that's best for my development at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not about the money, and certainly not about the money. But yeah, that's one of the main reasons I did it, just to get a really good training stimulus, to have some fun, of course, and race. And it's just good practice and good for my development.
I also can't help but think from a media point of view, it's also a really good opportunity to do something in return for your sponsors as well. So, pros have had to, and I hate using this word, but can't think of another word, have had to pivot a lot, like everyone in the world does, over the past sort of few months, particularly since March here in Australia. So it gives you another opportunity to give back to your sponsors by just getting on a start line. And look, here, you're on our media platform as well.
Yeah, and that was really important for me on the weekend, and especially since I was only an age grouper a couple of years ago. So a lot of my friends and stuff are still racing as age groupers, but with my affiliation and partnership with Catfish, especially doing clothing ranges and activewear ranges with them, it's a really good chance for me to see and meet people there that support me in that way.
Yeah, that's your hat. Yeah, talk us through your hat.
My tagline is "Be better than ordinary." So I've done a couple of collaborations, or 3 collaborations with Catfish now, with Tri-Suit and some activewear. But this year I had this idea over the hat and the t-shirts and hoodies with the "Be Better" slogan on the back. So I was going to do them myself, and then I approached Catfish to do them in collaboration with them. And of course they said yes, because they're just awesome. So that's been a really fun project to work on, not triathlon sort of focus, just something to do in my spare time.
Yeah, I like it. Hey, Joe Coombe has just said, thankful Renee briefed me on the run before the race. It was brutal.
Oh my goodness. I know we're talking about the race. We haven't dived into specifics of the race, but that course is super tough, that little triathlon. And Joe, I probably need to discuss the swim on Saturday at some point.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Oh my goodness. So we at the Hills District have actually been doing a lot of open water swimming at Mooloolaba every week, obviously preparing for this national championships at Rainbow Beach.
World champs.
Yeah,
Pete Coombe has called you world sprint champ, by the way.
So a couple of us girls from Hills raced on the weekend, and we felt like we were ready to smash the swim because we've been practicing at Mooloolaba, ins and outs, like diving and porpoising and all that fancy stuff. And we got there on Saturday. They were going to make it a duathlon because of the conditions out in the surf, and they just made a last-minute call to keep it as a triathlon. So I was really excited, but that was before I saw the conditions. And I'm one of those people, like an Aussie kid. I didn't grow up on the beach at all. I haven't swum open water much in my life. But I've never been one of those people that's scared of open water. I've never got in the water and felt panicked or anything like that. We got in for a little practice swim at the start, and it was deep. The water was deep at the start, and then there was a sandbank where a rip was, and then it got deep again. Anyway, me and Kylie, my training mate, we got out to the sandbank and tried to keep going further out where this rip was.
Yeah.
And I just stood up and looked at her, and she just looked at me, and I was just we looked at each other like, oh my goodness, we thought we were prepared for this. And no, I'm not even exaggerating. The race start, I think I swam, the swim times were really slow because of the conditions. I think I swam 13 minutes or something on the first day. No joke, I reckon probably 7 minutes of that was getting to the first buoy, which was only about 150 meters from the shore.
Oh, God.
Oh, we were just getting pummeled, pummeled. When we're at, before they let our wave off, Phil, the race organizer, he's like, just get out there, just swim out, and then when you get out to the sandy bit, just go on. When you see a wave coming, just go under the water, grab the sand, and hold on as hard as you can, and you won't get pushed back to shore with the waves. And as he was saying that, we were just like, oh my goodness. Anyway, it was really tough. And I was saying after the race, I was like, oh, it's such a good job by the age groupers to get that swim done. It was really, really tough because I'd found it so tough. But then I was talking to a couple of age groupers after the race, and this one lady's like, oh, I had the best time out there. I'm a surfer. I can't swim for shit, but I'm a surfer, and I had an awesome. So she sounded like she handled it way better than me. So I felt like they should be feeling sorry for us. And I had a couple of moments, no word of a lie, getting out to that first buoy. I just got pushed back and pushed back and pushed back by the waves. And there were a couple of times I was running scenarios in my head of how I was going to tell Cam that I had to DNF because I couldn't even get to the first point in a local grassroots race.
Oh,
so,
gosh.
yeah, the swim was tough. It was better conditions for day 2, but still quite a bit of surf to sort of get through before you got out to the first buoy. And then the run course was flat for maybe 500 meters, and then wasn't undulating hills. It was like a climb like that, up, just up, winded its way up to like a lookout type thing, and then back down. And then as soon as you got to the bottom, you didn't get to do the 500 flat again. You had to just turn around and go straight back up the hill and then back down. So it was the bike course was flat as a track. It was great.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but the swim and bike, it's a tough little course, but made it really fun.
Oh, amazing. Hey, I'm interested to find out what kind of COVID rules did they put in place to make sure that everyone was nice mug, by the way. By mug, I mean cup.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, what kind of sort of COVID plans did they put in place for the event to be able to go ahead?
The things that I noticed, we had no body marking, so there was no numbers drawn on or anything like that. In the morning, in transition, they were only letting, I don't know the exact numbers, but they were only letting like a group in at a time. So you had to get in, and then the officials were yelling out, hurry up, put your stuff out and get out of there because we've got to let the next group in. So there wasn't many people in there. I'd say maybe 20 people at a time in the whole transition area.
Yeah.
I had there was big gaps between the bikes, which is actually quite nice compared to a normal triathlon.
Yeah.
There was like a aid station at the start of the run, I think, but there was no one, like all the cups were just sitting on the table. You had to take everything but yourself.
Sure, okay.
And then obviously I nearly stuffed up at the presentations. They like gave us our little checks, and as soon as I was up there with the other girls, I just went like that to put my arms around them. The photographer goes, no, don't do that. So I was like, oh, sorry. And we're all sort of standing there like stunned mullets, just smiling for the camera.
Farah. It's such a habit though, isn't it? Like how do you break a lifetime habit of wanting to give people hugs?
Totally, and especially because that's the first time in 6 months or so that we've raced. So first time we've seen friends, competitors, and it's really weird when you see them after you haven't seen them for 6 months, just to go, hey, and do the like fist bump or whatever. You can't cuddle or hug people, which is a really odd feeling.
Yeah, I bet. I'll let you go in a second, but before I do, Pete Coombe has just said catfish design. I'll do anything for a leopard print suit. What do we need to do to get Pete Coombe a leopard print? I assume pink leopard.
Well, pink and leopard, that's the colours of the branding. I don't know, we'll have to get on to Lana Casey about that. It would be pretty funny to see Pete running around in a leopard print tri-suit.
If anyone could pull it off, it's Peter Coombe, right?
All 6'100" of him.
Oh, mate. My last question for you is, what have you learned about yourself in the past, 3 or 4 months that you obviously went into this race. It was a bit of fun and everything, but you haven't wiped the smile off your face. So obviously it gave you so much joy just to be out there on the start line again. But what have you learned about yourself that you took into this race, and then maybe some other races that you'll get to do in the hopefully near future?
I probably haven't learned it, but this time has probably reinforced.
Okay.
I'm laughing at it before. I haven't learned anything.
Yeah. I probably haven't learned it. I probably should, but I haven't.
I feel like I've been really mentally strong and resilient, and I've known that that's a trait that I'm very proud to have. But this corona time has made me realize just how resilient and mentally strong I am. Like I honestly, and I feel a little bit guilty sometimes saying this, but my motivation just hasn't even wavered this entire time. Like in 6 months, I've probably had 2 or 3 days that I've woken up and gone, what's the point kind of thing, like no races, but 2 or 3 days of feeling a bit flat in 6 months with what we've been experiencing. I've just been so focused, and I could say that, oh, I haven't been training much and I've just been going through the motions or whatever, but that would be lying. I've been training really, really hard. I've probably done one of the hardest training blocks I've ever done in my life. So I think to get through that and do all the things you've got to do to complete a training block like that, right, recover well and keep motivated and everything, I think, I'm quite proud of myself for being able to get through that in the last 6 months. So, I haven't really learnt it, but it's definitely reinforced that you're stronger than you think you are mentally, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, and correct me if I'm speaking out of turn, but you're essentially still a very new pro in the world of racing, and it's almost like as far racing, building yourself as an athlete, like you're still at the beginning stages of that, right? And so this is almost an opportunity to, grab hold of that opportunity where there isn't so much racing. You can just keep building your own sort of athlete.
Yeah, 100%. And, yes, I'm new and everything, but the fact is I've got a bloody lot of work to do, and a lot of progress needs to be made to get where I want to be in the level of competition and competitiveness that I want to be at.
Yeah.
So that's what I keep in my mind every day. I'm not one of the, top 20, top 30, top 40, whatever in the world. I can't afford to lay off, and put the brakes on or anything like that, because there's so much work to be done. So much hard work to be done. So that's what's sort of kept me going every day, for sure, definitely.
Yeah. Before I let you go, I'll probably say this 5 times. It's before I let you go is the equivalent of me also saying, just one more, let me take one more photo. I'm so bad. I'm just like, oh, I want to ask more. But we've got a few more people making a few comments, so I'm going to bring those up. But also, guys, if you are here before I let Renee go, please leave a comment or a question below. Joe and Pete Coombe are obviously big fans. She just said the training showed and the win was so well deserved. So congrats. Alison Ma has said, I know her.
Ali.
Yep. Jeffrey, just going back up to Jeffrey Morris, said, how good is that run course? I assume you enjoyed it, even though it was tough, right?
I actually, I know we don't like to, especially as pros, we don't like the smaller races. I think everyone thinks you have to say, oh, I don't judge my performance on a small race like that or anything. But again, I think that's a bit of a lie. I do judge where you're at in terms of an athlete, perhaps not against other people, but certainly against your own numbers.
Yeah.
And I actually ran the course was about 5.5K, I think, but like obviously our Garmin shows us the splits, and I actually ran a 5K PB on the second day, believe it or not. Ironman diesel engine here.
Love it.
So within that 5.5K, I actually ran a 5K PB. So those little things are great little bits of motivation to reflect the training that's been done. So you look at a small race like that and the results, and of course it's only a local race, and of course we don't get too excited about it.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to see little indicators in there of my own progress, and it just gives you more motivation to keep pushing.
Absolutely. And I think you can apply that from anything in terms of training, or if you're fortunate enough to race, it's those little goals that are just going to help everyone get through the next few months. Hopefully it's still just a few more months before things start to go back to some kind of normality. But I think that's really important for people to recognise, for sure.
Yeah, it's funny how it actually can completely turn your mindset around, something so small. Like just before the weekend, like I've put in how long? I don't even know where we're at now. It's been like 5-6 months of Corona. And I've probably had like 2 little mini, like 1 week off kind of breaks in that time. But otherwise it's all been a lot of hard work. And just before I was going into this weekend, I was thinking, I can feel myself just starting to get a little bit like tired mentally, and perhaps needing like maybe a week's break just to reset and get prepared for another block.
Yeah.
And then I race, and now I don't want to have a break because I'm like really, really motivated. So I just want to keep going. I already messaged Cam this morning and said, So I just have a recovery swim today. I just want to make sure I'm not having like another day off later in the week, am I?
Oh my God.
Racing like 3 days ago, I was like, maybe I need to have a week off, and then today I'm like, nah, we need to keep going.
Yeah. Hey, you got a great question. Also, just quickly, Barbara says, congrats, so wonderful to be able to race. Anne Stansel has said, would you incorporate sprint races for training in the future? So let's assume no COVID or whatever, but do you reckon that it would work well in the future?
100%. Yeah, like we get so caught up in needing to race the big brands, chasing, perhaps prize money to sort of keep ourselves afloat financially a bit, chasing qualifying races, that you forget like how good these races can be for training and to get those adaptations that you need, and especially focusing on Ironman, the speed side of it. And it's a different kind of pain. So there's so many things you can learn, and practicing transitions, things like that. So
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at any local races or smaller races like this for probably 2 years now. And also to support these people putting the races on.
Great point.
Yeah, so definitely it's something that I'll be looking at over the next however long I last in this sport as a pro.
I love that point. That's such a great point to look after the local races as well, to keep this sport afloat and just keep going. And also just followed that up with, I think it brings a lot of excitement as well to events, to have pros of any caliber absolutely at their events.
Yeah, I would be interested to know that actually from the age groupers. Like I don't think age groupers enter a race specifically because there's pros there. But yeah, I've always wondered whether age groupers do enjoy having the pros there, or whether it doesn't worry me either way. But I was always just curious about it, or does it not bother them either way? Yeah, it'd be interesting to know.
It's a great question. Leave a comment, guys. Do you like having pros at your event? Does it add to the atmosphere? I'd like to know that as well. And personally, she loves it. Nick Mallet just quickly said racing is sometimes the best training, so just echoing your thoughts there as well. Renee, I'm going to let you go because you've got... I assume you've already done your recovery swim, right?
I've already done my recovery swim, but I've got to catch up on Bachelor in Paradise last episode.
Well, let me tell you.
Don't tell me.
I won't. I promise I won't. But I need to find out whether they're doing a reunion, because that's when the good stuff happens. So
yeah,
far,
they
we
did.
don't know.
They did one for the last season, I think, but also the Bachelor starts tonight. Tonight?
Yes.
How good is life right now?
And I've just got into Farmer Wants a Wife as well.
Oh, I love that show.
Yep. So we're five episodes into Farmer Wants a Wife. So I'm all over that one too.
Oh, I can't take a break from training now. I've got all this turbo material.
Exactly. You're fine. You're all hooked up. I'll give you some other inside information on some other great TV shows, some reality train wrecks. I'm all over it.
Excellent.
Goodness. Again, just before you go, Joe just said she wants to race alongside pros. It's a huge appeal in the sport. Ironman have lost. Hang on. Ironman have lost me for any of their non-pro races. It's interesting.
That's interesting to know. Yeah, because I see feedback. Like obviously, read people's posts and things like that and it seems to me like it's really 50-50. Some people say they just don't even care whether pros are there or not, and then some are big advocates for it. So yeah, it's good to know.
I mean, Joe's always going to want to have pros there. She's got a selfie album that she needs to update constantly, right?
I got my first selfie with a pro on Joe's Instagram on the weekend. Feel very special.
You made it.
I've made it nice.
Renee, thank you so much for joining us at short notice. Truly, truly appreciate it. And congrats on the weekend. Not so much for the win, but just congrats for being able to get out there and race and have a fantastic attitude about it. I love it.
Awesome. Thanks for the chat, Steph.
No worries. We'll speak to you soon.
Ciao.
See ya. All right, so we're going to let Renee go. I'm going to stay on here a little bit longer, have a chat to you all about a couple of things. Nick Mallet has just said, I used to live in Cairns in the 90s and my 3 female flatmates would only come watch if they knew Brad Bevan was racing. So yes, some pros clearly matter. I love that one. Brad Bevan, he was a favourite amongst many triathletes. He was a big name, super impressive athlete, that's for sure. Kay Anderson also agrees, great to have the pros racing. I think so. It doesn't always necessarily mean that you get to watch them, but it's just, I feel like it's that ambience, that feeling of having the pros at the same event as you. I also think that we, a lot of the times people sort of say that one of the things that keeps triathlon or sets triathlon apart from other sports is that as age groupers, you get to go on the same race course at the same time, be involved in an event at the same time as a professional athlete. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there's any other sport really out there that does that. And I don't think you can count, halftime at the footy when the kids get to go out on the footy oval and kick the ball around and have a bit of a play. I don't think that's quite the same thing. It's cool, but it's not quite the same thing. So yeah, I like having pros at races. Also, it's good for my job to have pros at races. Okay, so before I let you go, I need to figure out where I'm up to next. I've got so many screens open. We're doing different things. Updates with Witsup. We have got, I think I mentioned this last week, the Witsup shop. We're having a few issues just in terms of the delay in getting items of clothing out to you all. It's completely out of my hands, but we've got essentially the company that we use, Print on Demand, and they've got warehouses in Europe and in the US. So the actual printing takes a certain amount of time, and then also the delivery is just taking such a long time, especially to get here to Australia and New Zealand. But the good news is we have just found out a couple of weeks ago that they have opened up a warehouse here in Australia, and I've done a few test runs, and it looks like we can get a few of the Witsup products made here in Australia, which means if you are an Aussie or a Kiwi, it will be delivered to you a lot quicker than it used to be. But I need to update the system, so stay tuned. We'll let you all know on all the social media channels once that has happened. But if you're an Australian or a New Zealander and you are looking to get some Witsup merch in the coming weeks, I would recommend just holding off a little bit until we get this new warehouse system sorted, so you don't have to wait as long for your goodies to arrive in the mail. This week, coming up on the podcast, here's a bit of a heads up. I'm going to be chatting to Aussie triathlete Grace Musgrove. So if you know anything about Grace and you would like to submit a question, let me know. We're recording tomorrow and that will be available at the end of this week. Going back to Mel Marsh, definitely think that it adds into it and find it hilarious when the pros come flying past. Yes, pros on bikes flying past you, especially when your waves start or you've started further back in the field for whatever reason, whether it's based on waves or even if it's the rolling start and you start further back and then being on their second lap and you're just getting out. And they've already geared up and they're into some kind of momentum. They are absolutely flying, but it adds to the effect. Just on that, as a media rep, when I'm on the back of moto, the amount of times people are riding and they hear a motorbike and they assume that it's draft busters, and you can see them looking around scared because they think they're doing the wrong thing, which they probably are, to be honest, because you're acting guilty. But if you do happen to be one of those people who looks over their shoulder if they hear a motorbike, please make sure you keep your line on the bike. It's so dangerous. So many times, every single race, I've not been to a race where this hasn't happened. We're on the motorbike and we're coming past you. Now remember, a lot of these motorbikes are like massive Harleys. They're big, they're bulky, they're heavy, they're going faster than you are. So many times people, when they've looked over their shoulder, have swerved with the bike. Very dangerous. Need to work on your bike handling skills if you feel like that is you. Is it you? How is your bike handling skills? I would like to know. Okay, what else can I tell you? What's your good news? Please, have you got any good news that has happened in the last couple of weeks? I want to make this a thing with what we do with the Witsup Weekly Grind. I just want some good news stories. So if you are still listening, please just write a little comment below. I'll share one with you, and hopefully while I'm sharing, then you can leave a comment yourself. Good news this week. This is going to sound a little bit crazy, but I ordered some shoes that I've scoured the internet for them, trying to find some shoes for Frankie. It's her birthday on Thursday, and I really wanted these. Finally found them, bought them, but they were going to arrive about 3 weeks after her birthday. But I was just like, I don't care. It's worth it. I love these shoes. You'll all see them pretty much on Thursday because she'll be wearing them on Thursday. But they arrived on Friday, so I am pumped. It is currently in the big box of goodies that we have for her, which also I forgot how many presents I've actually bought her over the last couple of months. I think, I got a little bit carried away. But that's what happens when you are locked inside of your house and you only have online shopping available to you. The money just flows quite easily out the door. Jeff's just said, got a couple of pro announcements for Harvey Bay 100 coming up. Jeff, I owe you a text message. I'll get onto that later on as well. That is fantastic news. Very good news. I am very happy to hear that. What other good news stories have you guys got? I would love to hear from you. Just while we're waiting, has anyone listened to the Raw podcast that we released a couple of weeks ago with Dr. Shauna Payne-Gold? It's a new series that we have launched with the podcast. We want the Raw series, which I'm not going to say it's going to be every month, but we're going to look at ways of keeping it kind of regular, maybe once every 2 months. But the Raw podcast is all about me having awkward conversations with people about topics that a lot of people shy away from. We want to be able to open up the dialogue and discuss those things that may feel a little bit awkward, but they're discussions that we have to have. So we had our first one on racial diversity and inclusion with Dr. Shauna Payne-Gold, who is a phenomenal woman. It was a fantastic podcast. If you haven't listened to it, I highly recommend that you give that one a listen. And then we've got some others planned in the near future as well. So if you have any idea on any kind of topics that you feel like might be a little bit awkward or uncomfortable for people to have, but they're very important to have, please leave a comment or send me a private message or an email, just steph@witsup.com. It's Steph with an F, not with a PH. Really interested to hear what you guys would like to talk about. Kay Anderson's good news is started running again after 9 months off with a partial rupture of Achilles. Ouch! Well done, Kay. That's fantastic news. I assume you started off with a bit of a walk run, but regardless, that is fantastic. Good to see you virtually or in my head out there running again. And I built a cubby for Frankie. It's true. I also put my neck out, so I have to go see the osteo. Good times. These are the sacrifices that we have to make as parents. Fantastic news from Kay. Who else have we got here? Joe's asked a question. Jeffrey, any chance age group slots opening up? Is there a waiting list? We'd love to come up and race. We're just waiting to hear. Maybe Jeff might answer that question. I'm not too sure. It's also something we'll follow up with Jeff later on. Here we go. Joe, send your details to Harvey Bay 100. Have a wait list. It's long, but it's Queensland only. You're a good chance. So, Joe, you've obviously seen that message from Jeff. He has also said 12 months yesterday. He snapped his as well, Kay. So, Jeff and Kay. Jeff and Kay. Sounds like one word. Jeff and Kay are bonding over ruptured Achilles, I think it was. Now forgotten. Wish you all the best. I know the road you're travelling. Look after yourselves. Jeff and Kay. Anne has bought a new bike. Anne, what bike did you get? I would like to know. That's great news. Fantastic news. Pam also bought a new bike. Here we go. Pam, in the last 2 weeks, I adopted... Oh, Pam, we need to see the dog. Let's add that to the list. In the last 2 weeks, adopted a dog. I was fostering, ran a solid 10K today for the first time in the beautiful mountain lake by my cabin and saw a spectacular bald eagle flying low and nearby while I was swimming. That is amazing. That's a fantastic week. And also ordered a brand new mountain bike today just for fun. Ooh, bald eagles are just stunning creatures. What does it mean if you see a bald eagle? Like, is it good luck or something? Surely there has to be something in it if you see a bald eagle. They are stunning creatures. Got that. Alrighty, folks, I'm going to start wrapping things up here. Thank you so much for joining us. I did mention this last week that the Witsup Weekly Grind is going to look a little bit different. It's taking a little bit longer than I anticipated getting that sorted, but we will sort that soon enough. But for now, you just get to see me and someone who I might be interviewing. We never know. It's fun that way, not knowing until the day to see who is going to join in. And found a great deal on a 2019 Ridley road bike that I can also put gravel tires on. Quite small, so it's hard to find one. And that's a score. Well done. Fantastic. And Kay and Jeff are still bonding over ruptured Achilles. Look after yourselves, guys. Fantastic to speak to Renee Kiley, professional triathlete, who won over the weekend at the Rainbow Beach Triathlon. But the best news out of that is that we are slowly starting to see a few races start up here in Australia. There's some across the globe starting up here and there as well. That's all positive, fantastic news. Even if you're stuck in Melbourne in lockdown, I still love seeing that people are racing. Look after yourselves, stay safe, train well, train safe, and I will see... Oh my God, I've just saw Pam say that the dog is a Weimaraner. They are stunning creatures. Oh my goodness, beautiful dogs. I'd love one of them, but I think they're just a little bit too big for our little house. Beautiful dogs though. Joe, thanks, Steph. Happy birthday to Frankie. I will pass that on. I will not be available on Thursday because I'll be blowing up balloons. I will also be setting up a jungle-themed house. Frankie is mad for animals, and so this house is going to turn into a jungle, including a waterfall and a big rock so that she can climb up onto the rock and hold. George is one of her animals, her leopard. I actually think it's a jaguar, but same, whatever. And I'm going to create a rock so she can climb up and hold it above her head like Rafiki does with Simba in The Lion King. So that's what I'll be doing Thursday. Okay, guys, take care, and I will see you this time next week.